Ladies and gentlemen, before I get to a CNN article, yet more evidence Donald Trump is running a shadow presidency, which he is, and I'll explain that in a different way from CNN, I want to thank, from the bottom of my heart, and on behalf of the entire country, I want to thank every veteran of Iraq and Afghanistan, everyone who has done so much to protect this country, to sacrifice and just do so much to defend and protect our country. This nation, the United States of America, every citizen, including myself, there's nothing we can say or do to repay you for everything you and your families have done for us. So God bless you all. Iraq, Afghanistan, Vietnam, Desert Storm, Grenada, World War II, Korea, every involvement, every military endeavor, every conflict, every war, to the veterans and the soldiers of this country, thank you. And God bless you and your families. And to the people, the families who've lost loved ones, God bless you. This country could never repay you. And, this is the 20th anniversary of September 11th. I think that it is wrong, now getting to politics, it is wrong for Biden to have left Americans in Afghanistan. It is wrong for Biden to have given them about $28 billion in armament. That is foolish, and it is counterproductive, and it puts us, it is the most absurd foreign policy debacle of all time. That was not part of the Doha Agreement that Trump negotiated with Pompeo. The Doha Agreement, signed by, we'll just call them the T-Ban, who now have $28 billion in weaponry. Some say more, but the Washington Post had to fact-check that, of course. And it's not 80 billion, it's 28 billion. They're always, all their fact-checking actually shines a spotlight into how horrible this administration is. But anyway, Biden left Americans behind and stranded and $28 billion in weaponry. Okay. To the people who were partially or a great deal responsible for what happened on September 11th, 20 years ago. Why did our beloved president, Mashed Potato Brains, do this? Why? In the comments section, can anyone tell me why? I have no clue, actually. That wasn't part of the Doha Agreement. President Trump negotiated an agreement. He reversed U.S. foreign policy. You can't take that away from him. He was a great president. Was he perfect? No. Were there things that he could have, done better? Sure. Could he have communicated in a more efficient, less polarizing manner? Sure. Of course. Okay, you can look at every president and say, yeah, you know what? There's a rational, valid critique. Okay? Should Bush have not deceived the entire world into thinking Saddam had WMD? Yeah, of course. That's what started all this. Guess who voted alongside Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld? Clinton, Kerry, and Biden, and Democrats. Guess who tried to disparage a Vietnam veteran and war hero? The Lincoln Project, the same people that are retweeted by morally superior Hollywood liberals. The Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld people. The establishment, the same people that are against Trump. By the way, there's going to be, unfortunately, and God forbid this happens, and I hope I'm wrong, but I'm predicting a stock market crash and a financial collapse like 2008. And I've been focused a lot on that, so check out my segments prior to this one. Hit subscribe, by the way, and if you want to support my voice long-term, my Patreon is below. To the people who have given to the super thanks, you can give a super thanks for this segment. But to my new Patreons, thank you so very much. My Patreon is below in the pinned comment. I'll have a live stream around 6:30, 7:30 tonight Pacific. So be there for the live stream. And let's just go ahead. All Biden had to do was withdraw Americans in January, after he was inaugurated. February, March, April. We would have been out. We would have already been out on May 1st. Instead, in a chaotic, rushed, completely inept and irresponsible manner, he put the responsibility upon our soldiers, who did a phenomenal job, and 13 of whom lost their lives because of Biden. Had he simply started evacuating in January, none of those 13 Americans would be alive today. But he decided not to evacuate in January to spite Trump, which gets us to the stock market crash that's going to take place. He's completely ignorant and clueless. We have a country that is being steered by a man like a drunk captain of, like, the Exxon Valdez, or, imagine the Titanic, but worse in terms of what's taking place in our country right now. We're heading towards an iceberg, a financial iceberg. We're heading towards a financial collapse. And I explained that. Every economic indicator, GDP, has been revised downwards. We had the greatest ever jobs miss, 700,000 jobs that should have been already, people should have been working, but they're not, which is very bizarre. We have inflation, over 5%. We have more people, more institutions, more hedge funds, banks trading on margin, borrowed money than ever before. And at the same percentage of GDP as the 2000 and 2008 crashes. Producer price index, highest it's ever been on record. Consumer price index, highest in over a decade. I'm giving you these economic indicators, and nobody cares. Look at the economic indicators. They're all pointing to a market crash. And when that happens, we'll have to bail out banks again with money that we already don't have, because Democrats and Biden continually focus on everything but economic growth. They prevented people from working last year, which was a complete, immoral, illogical, irrational catastrophe predicated upon paranoia and hysteria. Anyway, I talk about that during the live streams, but here, yet more evidence Donald Trump is running a shadow presidency. The latest example of Trump's shadow presidency came Wednesday, when the Washington Post reported that Trump had spoken with several of the family members of those who lost their lives in Afghanistan in the final days. So this is like a good thing that Trump is doing. Then they say he criticized the way Biden handled Afghanistan, and he just did that this morning. So they still keep on talking about how he pushed, these horrible theories about, Democrats blamed Russia for 4 years. They have some nerve going after Trump and saying, "Oh my God, look, you didn't accept things." Well, they never accepted things for 4 years. They tried to frame and set him up. But Trump is doing exactly what he should, criticizing Biden, which is very easy to do. Mashed potato brains is already one of the worst presidents we've ever had. He's asleep at the wheel. We're going to have a financial collapse and a stock market crash. Save your money. If you're watching, I'm telling you to don't worry about investment. Let's just say I'm wrong and, you miss out on crypto or whatever, stocks or whatever. Save your money. You'll at least have the money that you have saved, or you will not have lost anything. The risk of losing a lot is greater now than it has been in years. And I would just say save your money in a savings account. Don't worry about interest rates. Don't worry about investment. Just save your money for a rainy day. Just save your money. Every month, save $50, $100, $500, $1,000, as much as you can. As much as you can every single month. We're heading towards a financial catastrophe, and Biden is worried about the pandemic, and it's like Democratic-run states still have the worst aggregate numbers. You can slice and dice numbers when it comes to this. The bottom line is he's not focused on economic growth. The entire Wall Street rally of the past year was predicated upon the United States rebounding. We have not done so at all. Once Wall Street kind of realizes this and looks at the economic indicators, which are horrible, which rival '08 and 2000 and '87 and 1929, especially the percentage of people or institutions trading on margin. We already had a hedge fund collapse. We already had two hedge funds, actually. One collapse and one had to deal with, I don't want to get into it, but you see, like, the volatility downwards in the market, people are too over-leveraged. They won't be able to answer the margin calls, just like Archegos wasn't able to answer the margin call when Viacom stock went down 1 week. It just tanked 1 week, and a small hedge fund went under. Imagine if you have a sustained 2-3 days of 30, 40, 50% crash, or 20, 30, 40, 50%, something, God forbid, something like that. And so imagine and the derivatives that they are trading, that they're buying and selling and they're playing with, they're betting with, since they don't own the underlying stock, they don't have to report to the SEC and to the government how much they're borrowing. They just implemented protocols on that now. Okay, I think now is a bit too late. We have no clue, truly, how much borrowing and how much margin they've utilized to own stocks, hedge funds, and everybody else. Because in the derivatives, the contract for difference, what happens is the same derivative that caused Archegos to go under, they're betting on the up and down swings of the stock. So a lot of these firms like Archegos that went under, the hedge funds, they might have been betting, like Archegos, that a stock will go up. If it goes down a certain percentage, they're going to get a margin call. When that happens, they have to actually inject cash capital to make sure they can keep their position. If they don't have enough cash to hold their position because they have borrowed, so half the amount of the stock that they own could be borrowed on margin, then the bank takes everything. Then the hedge fund goes under. Then the bank incurs losses, billions upon billions. What happened with Archegos is a small hedge fund led to $10 billion in losses for 4 banks. That was a small hedge fund. The larger hedge funds are about 10 to 15 times the size of Archegos. So you're looking at potentially hundreds of billions of dollars in losses. Okay. Could be potentially trillions in losses. Then you'd have to bail out banks again. Give me your thoughts below. Have a nice day. Give me your thoughts below. We're heading towards a catastrophe, and Biden is worried about climate change and the pandemic. And it's like, he's not actually, like the Afghanistan withdrawal, we've seen what he can do to mess things up. He was given a roadmap, a blueprint. He messed it up. And we are heading towards a financial catastrophe, a stock market crash, and he's not doing anything to protect us. He's not doing anything. And when there's a crash, and there will be in his presidency, maybe in the next year, maybe next month, maybe this month. When that happens, interest rates are as low as can be. Long-term government bonds don't really pay a lot. So how on earth can the Fed or the United States government get us out of that kind of catastrophe without printing more money, which would cause more inflation? We have inflation because of the draconian, counterproductive policies of Democrats and media, which Democrats worship. So anyway, give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. To the veterans of this country, of every war, of every involvement, of every conflict, God bless you. We can never repay you. And the entire country loves you and respects you and admires you. And forget about what you hear like here and there from certain people on social media, whatever. Social media is meaningless. I don't have a Twitter account. I don't have a Facebook account. Obviously, this is a video-based format. I don't look at YouTube like, it's not Twitter, it's not a message board. But we can never repay you, and thank you for everything that you've done, and God bless you. I will have a live stream later today, about 6:30 or 7:30. Be here about 7:30 for the live stream. Thanks, everyone.